There it is. Hello. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another meeting of the Church of VWAP. So who made a shitload of money this week? I know some of you fuckers did. At least they have bragging rights. I was too broke to do any plays. Oh, I'm sorry. Citadel Insecurities. I managed to lose money. Thank you. Good job. That happens, Funk. You get used to it, man. You can only get better at it, right? That's that's what I've heard. Also check HNT. Breakout seems to be inbound. Halving is tomorrow. That's exciting. Why are they having it on a weekend? God, I hate the crypto market so much. What's up, everyone? God, I'm tired. This is my first time. Be gentle with me. No, we're gonna get weird in here. Get used to it. Always be funded, guys. It's really easy with like Fidelity and stuff, right? Because they'll just give you a debit card for your trading account. So it's very easy to just keep all your money in one spot. Unfortunately, Fidelity kind of sucks for options. Unless you have like max level options, which I think still require a pretty significant bankroll. Can't be shown up to the high rollers table with $100 trading account. Fucking WeBull gave me a GFV yesterday. So I'm bitching at them about it. I've already contacted customer service. It's nonsense. All I traded was options. Well, thank you, Funk. I love not being your mentor. Anyone see any decent DD on the derivatives report that came out? I haven't even seen the derivatives report. Having is date bound. Oh, week bound. Yeah, I really do feel like they should like limit crypto markets. Like 7 days a week, fine. But does it have to be 24 fucking hours a day? I understand that's not the way it works, but I want it to work that way. Yeah, good faith violation. I felt attacked by that high roller $100 comment. That was me applying to Fidelity options. If you want to do options, just open a Thinkorswim or a WeBull account. Neither one of them give a fuck. They'll give anybody options. Fidelity's just they're kind of dicks with it. They always have been. So derivative of the derivatives report. Sounds about right. It's not out yet. Is it even going to be released to the public? Does anybody know? Yeah, it's tough, Cool Daddy. I mean, that's why all those hedge funds are lit up at night, though, right? Nobody wants to work the crypto desk at any hedge fund, let me tell you. The absolute fucking worst. The current trend on GME, given the idea that shorts are being squeezed currently, seems like they're getting dangerously close to MOAS. Seems like it. Any thoughts on that volume spike? More than 10 times the average for the first 30 minutes of aftermarket? Or not important? That was probably pretty important. Reddit posted about it. They posted a bunch of incorrect shit. That was it. You know, the usual fucking speculation train started on it. It was probably so. Remember, like throughout the week, we were seeing all those like oh, I don't want to see this. Get out of here. Go over here somewhere. There we go. We were seeing all those like 10, 30, $40 deep in the son of a bitch. Fucking epic pen, man. Drink. So we're seeing all these roll in. That was probably those being exercised. It's a strategy called call positioning. Now, here's where it gets weird, right? Is those should have been hedged already. I don't think they were. Which means that the market maker not staying truly delta neutral, right? Any thoughts on that volume spike more than 10x the average for the first 30 minutes of AM are not important? Any thoughts on that volume spike? Yeah, okay, whatever that. Reddit piece of that. Fact checking. Sounds about right. Cool, Daddy. There's no like food available at that time of night, right? Unless you work for a fund that has like a chef or a kitchen, which not all of them do. Those calls would have expired yesterday. I think they. I'm not sure what date they were for. Um, but no, they wouldn't have expired. Some of them would have actually. That's not true. I know some of the. Seriously, already. Some of the $10 strikes were for 7:30. I'm not sure about the $30 and $40 ones. You know, I exercised some contracts too, actually. Not that many, but some. Wouldn't that mean the ramp the longs build week after week wouldn't have as much effect as we want it to? Possibly. But I mean, if the longs suspect that the market maker isn't remaining delta neutral, they can report that to the NYSE, and Citadel can be removed as DMM of GameStop. That's a huge fucking no-no. And if that happens, MOAS will occur. If they put Virtu or Goldman in charge, any reason why an MM would forego hedging? Crime. Big crime. It would seem that there's some evidence of it. But, you know, obviously there'd have to be a lot of evidence of it. They are allowed to like fuck with hedging a little bit. Um there's some legal flexibility there, but I think they may be taking advantage of that a little strongly. A little too much, you know, a little heavy-handed with the flexibility of their position. It's rather losing the, well, they no. So they bought those contracts because they intend, like, those 30s and 40s. These were all bought to be exercised. They fully intended to exercise these. There was no intention to not. This is how you move into a position without affecting the price. But if that's the case, and like 160,000 or 160,000 shares were exercised, where the fuck are they going to find those? They have T+2 to find those shares for those contracts, right? Any thoughts on the cause? I don't like the glitches on WeBull. That's not. It's unusual, but it's still just a glitch. I've seen it on other stocks. I think it has to do with just like them trying to chart data, like kind of all at once. not going to be able to stay on long. Have to get some work out in the woods. Just wanted to say what's up and thanks for all you do. Thanks, Curtis. I appreciate that, man. Yes, the common, not so secret ingredient. Hey, Han. You sober now? Feels like 109 out here, but I'm getting ready for hunting season, so it's not real work. Look, a pigeon whale. Those exercise contracts are probably going to be filled with synthetics. Yeah, well, yeah. There haven't been real shares for months. But even the synthetics, like the creation and sale of synthetics still drives the price up, right? So they're trying not to make any more synthetic longs, but they also really can't make any more synthetic shorts, right? Because they barely have any effect. They're really in a kind of shit position. I know you don't drink often, but was yesterday celebrations too? No, I didn't drink yesterday at all. I'm hoping to make some money off options to become a pigeon whale. That sounds like a terrible plan. If you can afford to be a pigeon whale, be a pigeon whale. If you can't afford to be a pigeon whale, don't go to the casino and gamble to try to become one. Save your money for better things. This week was particularly good. Um, I don't mind teaching you guys how to fish, but you're not always going to just receive the fish, right? The fish aren't going to just be handed to you every time. You're going to have to learn how to find plays and make decisions and assess risk. Thank you for working 7 days a week and doing these streams. I'm getting used to it. I do miss my old work-life balance though. Of basically doing nothing. Occasionally making money. Stop, I can only get so jacked. Yeah, well, lowering the price is bad for them. You have this massive amount of retail buy pressure under 160, right? Retail, not only retail, but institutional, right? Anybody waiting on the sidelines to go long? Because, I mean, below 157 is like cheap as fuck based on the price of the stock. And so, and then you have the gamma ramp building above it, right? And so the shorts are trying to like thread this like narrow channel, right? But if it goes up too high, it can ramp. And if it goes down too low, the buy pressure can come in and start a different kind of FOMO, right? Like like ultimate dip FOMO. So they have to kind of stay right in the fucking middle of that all the time, and it's really obviously getting very hard for them. Fortunately, we don't have a lot of volume right now. It's summer, so the market volume overall is way down, and that really helps them out. But that doesn't last forever. Maybe that scanner will give me pigeon whale powers one day. I feel like nothing I've said's gotten through. Awesome, Pickle Morty. I bought Pigeon Whale with 4 days left to membership renewal. I paid $11. Scammed. How does that work? Is that how that works? Is it like based on what day you start the membership? That's weird. Why doesn't it just have it like track each account individually? Not much yet, Tom Tom. Just think about the 10-year holiday after MOS. No problem. Who's coughing now? I don't know anything about fishing, but it seems like a solid analogy. So going YOLO on anything is a stupid fucking idea. Statistically better than like following recommended news media picks, but not much. It's YOLOing a measured amount with a real risk management strategy backing it up into a play where you think that the range of gains is worth significantly more than the amount of money you put in. Really appreciate your passion. How often do you plan on updating Pickle's picks? Well, I mean, whenever I have them, right? They don't come every day. I mean, understand that. I'm not putting anything in that channel that's even remotely risky, right? Because I know you fuckers are just gonna like throw money at it. So if I see like downside on a play, it's not going in there. Even though it's not financial advice, and I'm just showing you stocks that I'm looking at, and you should be making your own judgments based on your own finances. I was 4.95, but then tomorrow it'll charge me 99. It's such a weird system. How difficult, expensive do you think it is to fight the gamma ramp? Well, on no volume right now, Citadel, it's about like 1 to 1.5 billion a week. And that's on like 1 to 3 million average volume. Probably get into trading post-MOS, not because of the funding, but because I find it incredibly fun and enticing. It is at first. And then the reality of what you actually do as a trader kind of sets in. And it's not depressing, but it can be unrewarding. I find the stream and like the community that we've built way more rewarding than trading. It does, but if you change levels, it doesn't reset. Weird. I don't know anything about YouTube billing. If I could do it any other way, I would. laughs in 98% GME portfolio. I mean, the thing about that though is that like putting 98% of your portfolio into like a good long-term investment is just like a Buffett-esque play, right? Like this is just a non-diversified, I've bought into a company that I see value for in the future, right? And that's what it, GME's like not so much a YOLO anymore. It was for a long time, but now it's not. Now that like the leadership's established and stuff like that, it's becoming much less of a YOLO and more of just like an extremely solid long-term growth play. It's being added to the growth index of every index it's being added to. I mean, it's solid. It'll grow one way or another. Somebody already did that, Cool Daddy. When does volume generally return? There's periods of the summer where it comes back, but usually the first like quad witching after summer is when it starts to get crazy again. A lot of it is just non-participation that happens during the summer. So it's not like people are off during the summer, right? It's just that like a lot of market participants aren't participating. Some private funds will close their doors for a couple weeks during the summer. A lot of people, like individual investors, go on vacation. Uh, Everyone's got like rotating vacation time, so they'll like maintain positions and stuff and move in on things. It's been my experience that summer is a very good time for retail traders to make a lot of money because high frequency and algo trading aren't really as prominent as they are during the rest of the year. The market always runs in seasons though. But as soon as like September futures contracts come in, it takes off like hard through, you know, next summer. Peaking usually around January. Yeah, apparently Kramer's picks are super good for like the day or the day after he announces them. So like you can steal boomer FOMO essentially, and then after that they decline. I would never take personal financial advice from anyone. I just happen to have a personal system that relies on seeing indicators before I invest. Those indicators happen to wear VWAP and cookies hats. Yeah, I mean that's the point, Matthew Hodge. That's why I put the picks there, so you guys can also learn how to find them. Sort of. I mean, not really my actual trading system, but like, or the system I use to trade, but just a solid like fundamental system for trading, which is a great place to start, and then you know you can shape that to your own needs. You can learn to taper, which you guys have probably seen me doing on stream, where I'll buy um like yesterday. I kind of did it yesterday on Tesla. But I bought like 680s. Well, I don't know if you guys saw that. Did I buy the 680s on WeBull or Fidelity? I bought 680s, 690s, right? And then it ran, and then I sold, and then it dipped, and then I bought more out of the monies at like 700, and then it ran again, and I sold. I don't believe that for a second. You hate this community. I do not. I hate people generally as individuals or groups. But like you guys are fine. Honestly, the trading high is so addicting. I think trading stocks options is still gonna be more flexible than buying houses and renting them out. I mean, buying houses and renting them out is a stupid fucking game. I know everyone thinks like that's just part of that like indoctrinated wealth system where like you work hard and you know save and then buy property. It's like this is dumb. This part and this part are really stupid. This one's okay, but not necessary. The real system is you take money and you turn it into more money, and that then turns into more money. And then you can take all of that money and turn it into more money. And when you have enough money, you then insure that money. That's it. So I was trying to practice my TA super smooth brain version last Wednesday for Jimmy. I thought it would bounce off 170-ish last Friday. Could you show how you would have drawn it last Tuesday? That's rough. Tuesday? I mean, last Tuesday would have probably been like there. So yeah, 170 bounce. 170 bounce wouldn't have been unreasonable. I mean, but then they shorted it really hard. So I mean, we have two of those that have occurred. One occurred here, and one here. They've shorted several breakouts now. I think this is one. Uh, yeah, that was the cup and handle breakout that got shorted. This was the first bounce on the wedge, and then this was the support line for the wedge. All three of which were the days where they shorted the most. And then this, which was the breakout of 350. Those are the four times we've really been hammered. Um, Other than that, it's been pretty neutral for the most part. I should probably use Trading View for the stream, actually. Hold on, let me switch. So WeBull's complete shit for this. Bum, 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 bum. Uh, That's the long-term value of Jimmy, 1K a share. Not anytime soon. Visceral Records live. Maybe in a couple years. I'm sure we'd split before then. GameStop's not the kind of company that can carry, at least not yet. It's not the type of company that can carry $1,000 share at a fair market price. It's still relatively small, right? I mean, they would definitely split if the price got up that high. Although I don't really know Ryan Cohen's like personal opinions on share splitting. I don't know what he did with Chewy. Did he take Chewy public first? I can't remember. But I'd imagine we'd split, like in normal trading after MOAS or whatever. I'd imagine we'd split at like 500. Jimmy seems similar to 90s Apple when Jobs took over again and rescued the company from bankruptcy and started a turnaround. Sorta, yeah. Didn't Jobs start Apple in the 80s? Are you talking about like late 90s when Jobs came back? About half of my play portfolio in GME, my literal financial advisor won't let me buy with my non-play accounts. What a dick. There is a guy on Reddit. I forget his username, but he is all about designing a trading system based off of Kramer. So it's like you buy like calls when Kramer, like right when Kramer announces it, and then 48 hours from that moment, you sell those calls and buy puts. And he's up like I don't know, like 500% over the year. He's doing pretty okay. Sounds stupid boring, but I've noticed January volume gets crazy, especially after an election. Yeah, well, always after, like always in election years, it gets super nuts. That's just because like new economic policy coming in, everyone's excited. Markets stagnate, right? Like so when you have like new economic policy roll in, it's exciting regardless of what side it's from, right? Hey guys, I'm late. What's up, Elon? Our chat's so much busier today. There's so many new. Oh, also welcome to all the new Dillionaires and Long Johnsons. Super cool. This chat's like way busier than it usually is. It's definitely picked up in the last week. I know why too. What do you mean by insure the money? You hedge it. Do you think the ending of the eviction ban is going to tank the market? Didn't FHA extend to September already? So it's not. I don't know. We'll see. Delta variant's getting pretty real though. I mean, bias, but I'm noticing it kind of pick up everywhere. Seems like investing, like hospitals around me that had previously like closed down their COVID wards and stuff have started opening them back up again. Infection rates are going up. The real estate plays to buy and rent while you wait before selling. It's going from money to money to money. Yeah, but like in the worst fucking way possible. Real estate's only something you should buy when you have nothing else to do with your money. Like you've run out of places to put money. Then you should buy real estate because it's like the last thing left. But like, who the fuck wants some house that appreciates, 25% over like 10 years? Ugh. This is garbage. This is garbage growth. Yeah, investing in REITs is definitely better than managing the property yourself. Property value increases so slowly over time. Parents' house tripled in value, but it took 30 years. Yeah, fuck that. Even mutual funds have a better rate of return. And if you buy at market lows, like, what's up, Tickled Pickle? Houses in my area have tripled in the past 5 years, but that just means that they probably weren't super valuable to begin with, right? Yeah, but what percentage is that? Like 60K in 3 years is not a lot of money, right? I mean, I'm not trying to like insult your investment, right? I'm just saying that like the amount of growth, like like how like a home ownership versus like stock market, right? Or even bonds have a better return than homes do. Um like, you know, 10% in 3 years, 20% in 3 years, or like GameStop is up, 3,700% year to date, or Tesla's up like, or like Moderna's up 1,700% year to date. Um, like the rate of growth here is exponentially greater than the rate of growth there. Even on safe investments, you can expect like a 13% return to a 15% return in a bull market. A solid fund will net you like 22%. A really good fund will net you 30 year over year compounding, right? And you don't pay fucking taxes. I mean, you do, but like you don't have to pay property tax and like repairs and shit. Did you publish your list of book reference that you found from your journal? No, I found the journal. I haven't looked in it. How debt ceiling could affect Jamie? I don't think it does. Those white candles at the end of the chart. Oh, that's predicted price movement. So far, pretty accurate. Wait, what's a stock? Did somebody already ask me about the debt ceiling? I don't know if it affects GME directly in any relevant way. That corn-free weekend pass did make me FOMO into Johnson. Question about CSP wheel strategy. Any tips for how to identify good candidate stocks under $100 a share? Would AMD be good for the wheel given your bullish outlook? Um, yeah, AMD's, I mean, implied volatility is pretty picked up right now. AMD might be solid for wheeling. Uh, but the high end on it is pretty. So I assume you're going to be selling CSPs, right? You're going to start with CSPs, not covereds. So if you're selling CSPs, you could probably sell them around like 100, um, maybe. And the volatility might be good enough there. Like you could do like weeklies. There's different ways to handle wheeling. Like, actually, hold on. Big Dilly, answer further down, and I'll get back to it. But like, what's your risk approach to wheeling? Are you just trying to like maximize gains, or do you care about the risk factor? Because there's different things you can do there. Is your pattern you repeated on the chart still up from last Saturday? How did it perform? Uh, I'm not sure what you mean. Like the price action prediction, oh, it did not perform well. But I think I was looking at the wrong time frame. I think this time frame's a little more accurate, unfortunately, which is boring, but at the money offerings and all. So puts on the SPY. I mean, a lot of money has been lost buying puts on the SPY. Australia's in full lockdown again. Yeah, it's. I don't know if America will willingly go into full lockdown again. Economic progress is definitely more important than human life, at least for, in those terms, right? Like greater good and all. Is that bad? No one gives a shit about the national debt. Did they not increase it? I thought they did. Was that the first time they've ever not increased the debt ceiling? The debt ceiling's been increased like 74 times in the last 100 years. Buy a property that is under market rents, a little more money in it. I'm not saying there's no money to be made in real estate. I'm just saying the money to be made in real estate is minimal in comparison. Interesting. I didn't look at it quite as just ROI. I mean, yeah, I guess that's it's a different viewpoint. I understand that. And home ownership is so indoctrinated into the American economic system that like most people are just going to do it anyway, right? Have you had a look at the bank's derivative exposure? The numbers are completely mad. Might mean Fed just has to keep printing forever, possibly, and they will. Yeah, I mean, real estate as like owning rental properties is just shitty because you have repairs, you got to deal with tenants, you got to deal with the courts when tenants need evicted, you have to deal with new leases and contracts every year, and like you have to deal with people not being on time with their rent. It's just like such a shitty system. Like commercial real estate's a little bit better just because the leases are long and you don't have too much responsibility directly, but even then. Yeah, you're gonna start with CSPs. I mean, yeah, so you want to look for a floor. You want to sell just below that floor or just above it, depending on your risk level. Big Dilly style. So, and then when you hope that when you get assigned, it's on like a bounce, right? And then you can sell the covered call at the other side of the bounce, right? And then have your shares assigned at a price that you're willing to get rid of them for. CSP like wheeling works best I've found on stocks that kind of move slightly upward like this because you always know where you have like a really solid confirmed floor and kind of a solid trend for your channel, right? And so like you can have your CSPs here and your covered calls here, and then you can just move back and forth between the 2 points. um, Volatile stocks will pay much more, but the risk is much greater. So like AMC is a great place to do like high risk wheeling. You can make a shitload of money over there. I know people that have. Yeah, I mean, and there's people who do that too. You usually need a ton of capital to be like income reliant on wheeling. If you're wheeling like safe shit like Apple. But I mean, we're in economically challenging times and wheeling becomes more risky because if the SPY dumps and you're in on a bunch of blue chips, you're going to get assigned and then the price is going to keep going down. So not a time where I would be doing the bull side of the bet probably for the wheel. I might just be buying stock and selling CSPs. But even then, I probably would stay away from wheeling right now. Unless you have just a ton of free capital. I own and will own more real estate in my life, but I would not expect it to pay as an investment. Do you expect this to turn into a double bottom? I mean, sorta, yeah. I'd like it to ride this resistance, however, and not the lower. So if we zoom in on this, I guess we can get a better idea. This was the previous price action from the last run up. We have a support trend here, which is our high support. And then we have another possible support trend here, which is the low. Ideally, we will continue to follow this one. Let me switch my color here so it doesn't blend so much. So ideally we'll see upward movement and then support on this before we bounce to the upside. I think we are already tracking a little higher, except for maybe this day and this day, but this is a higher day. Ideally, this higher trend will continue. But we'll see. Obviously, this isn't precise. It'd be very odd for the stock to follow the exact same pattern 2 times in a row. But it's possible, right? Because generally, if there's fuckery or crime on a stock, you're going to see more repetition in the patterns of the way it trades, right? Because of the short hedge fund circle jerk. Market crash in the near future makes just... Yeah, it's a bit risky. You think another full cup will form starting with a run up without the 16th ending before earnings? No. It's much there's much less like liquidity now. Things are going to move faster. They're not going to slow down. So it's not going to move slower than the previous run up, right? It'll move faster than the previous run up. I'm not keen to be a landlord, but instead of getting slammed with gift tax by giving them cash, I'd rather invest in property for my family to live in cheap, free. I don't have a lot of family. That's fair. Or you could take care of your people or whatever, you know, but just like, I'm just saying as like an investment. If you have tons of liquid cash, you can buy as much property as you want. I don't know. So pickle Morty. It's mostly because like I think just because like I didn't grow up in a world where like people owned homes, right? Like I didn't grow up in a world where people even had fucking checking accounts or credit cards, and so I guess my approach is different, or like I wasn't fed that system really. Mine was all like survival and maximizing potential where I saw it, and so I think that led to like kind of a different mindset for me at least. I know when I approached like institutional finance in school, I was like, this is bullshit. um, I didn't. I did not agree with what they were teaching, you know, and like that's most financial advisors, bankers, like that's their education, and I saw more profit and value other places, I guess. I sold a $500 cover call on GME expired January 2022 for $3,100. I'm thinking this week will likely be a good time to buy it back, less than half of what I paid. Yeah, probably. I mean, all through uh, this period here, I was selling from like I think right here through here, I was selling covered calls like crazy on GameStop. And like just weeklies. I would just like because the resistance is held so well that the only times I got assigned were I think I got assigned here once and here. But other than that, like the resistance is held so well and the weeklies were so much money that like the profit generation was insane, right? And what's the worst thing that would happen to me is like I would just get another 100 shares of GameStop, like it's fine for cheap. too, like for a low. I do recommend really like kind of like the depth of knowledge I have on GameStop. That's a good place to be when you're selling like CSPs. Like you want to really know the stock because you probably only need to do it on one or two stocks at a time. You don't need to market make for like several different equities. Qualified. I'm looking at qualified opportunity zones. Postmaster is a good way to help organizations that serve community care for and get. Yeah, you can actually defer capital gains tax that way. Here comes the funk. The problem is people will do it predatorily. I'm not going to tell them how, but I'm sure a tax lawyer will. Well, we'll probably run up into the earnings, Mr. Finch. I just hope they don't release more shares. If they release more share, if we run up and they release more shares at earnings, I will be 100% convinced at that point that the SEC is encouraging at the money offerings. Thanks. Any good websites to learn more? I don't think Investopedia has any specific articles about the wheel. They do. Um, there's books about it. You're just market making, right? So you need to do more research into understanding the making of markets and how to hedge, and the wheel strategy is something I'm still kind of learning on the side. I understand it well enough to do it, but I mean, there's a lot of depth there. There's definitely some books. I'll look into something. I'll let you know. You're telling me. Volume, I miss those days. Yeah, well, we all do. Longs keep setting up those gamma rants each time. Eventually they hit and boom, we're running. Yeah. You can even see the points at which they hit, right? Like, if you go back, like, here, uh, not this, but, this into this. This was actually a gamma ramp too. Um, but you can see when it happens. Would you say real estate is good for establishing generational wealth instead of short term? No, education's good for establishing generational wealth. That big ass bank accounts. Businesses are better than real estate in that regard, as their growth rate is much higher. Stable businesses, not nothing. Yeah, you'd have to do a lot of research, but yeah, there's businesses that are much more stable than the real estate market. There's a lot of like small businesses that are extremely stable. Not wildly profitable, but very stable and a consistent profit, right? Ah, crap. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. Do leaps anymore make sense for Jimmy to utilize leverage far out of the money? I mean, I don't know how much it's going to move against you. If you're buying them far out of the money, they probably do make sense. Yeah, right, because of MOS. I definitely wouldn't go that far out moving forward. Great. My financial indicator won't tell me how to beat taxes. I'm not a prepper. If they do another offering, how would that impact my loss? It doesn't. Unless they do something like AMC and double the float, it doesn't impact anything. Well, tell that to my degrees. Degrees are only so degrees. That's another like part of that, indoctrination thing, right? Degrees are only worth what you do with them. If you're ambitious and you're going to take that degree and use it to its full potential, it will pay over and over and over again. But if you're not, and you expect to just like, settle into something that pays six figures a year, and I mean, with a professional degree, you can do that, but with a lot of other degrees, you can't. And I think that's the most, like, one of the most common mistakes people make when going to college is they're like, I'll just do this thing. And it'll pay enough for me to be like happy ish. And like, that's just not always the case. All I wanted was enough money for my children to be useless. That's the American dream. Why do you think that generationally wealthy people put such an emphasis on their children's education? And don't get me wrong, sometimes they have children that are just idiots, and there's no fixing that. Um, but they make sure they're very well educated idiots so that maybe their children won't be as stupid and can continue the generational wealth. Who or what books influenced you to go for this growth mindset? Fuck, I don't know. It was just like kind of where I ended up. I'm not really sure what exactly influenced that, right? Like there's no way to there's probably no way to figure that out. Tom. I've read a lot of books. I don't I don't know which ones in particular impacted my mindset the most. I mean, lots of them. Otherwise, we just have kind of a course book on how to be people, right? Like, oh, I want to be just like Steve Jobs, like, and that's not comparing myself with him, obviously, but like, you can't do that, right? You could try really, really hard, and you may obtain like a quarter of the success that he did. It's just a culmination of my life experiences and education and uh yeah, I really want to know how to like put a pin in that. Do you mind going into why GM is usually a good company to do options for? I'm practicing with it. It's because it's a very stable tropical thunder splash. It doesn't have a lot of volatility almost ever. So options are usually priced very fairly. Um, it moves in, stable patterns because of its lack of volatility. So when it goes down, it then usually goes back up, and then when it goes up, it usually goes back down. Right now, it's picking up a little volatility, which is rare for it. But that's because analysts are starting to market as a higher. They own a lot of real estate and factories. They have a lot of production power and a lot of exposure to the futures market. And so if the price of commodities and stuff picks up, they have that all priced in. Tons and tons and tons of government contracts, so they're never going out of business. Some of the reasons. What's your opinion on REITs? I own some. Is that a good balance between investing in the market and owning a property outright? I've invested in a few REITs with Fundrise, 10 to 20% returns the past 3 years. That sounds about right. This year should be extra phenomenal. But yeah, REITs are solid. Weird tax shit you have to deal with, but worth it. And you don't have to manage the properties, right? Which is the best part. It's completely hands off. You just take what you can get. edX, Coursera, etc. can let people learn at their own pace. It helps, but I have issues with some of those things like Coursera. I don't mind opening up the academic spectrum, but you open it up too much and it just turns into like social media education, which would be obviously garbage. How do we feel about multifamily office firms, RIAs, fee only, no commissions, worth exploring post-mass? Yeah, I mean, there's always businesses are better growth opportunities than the stock market generally. Angel investing, there's even if you have a ton of capital, there's even better ways to make money. It's just a lot of my family barely or didn't get through high school, so that ship has low-key sailed. I mean, it hasn't. I think that's the mistake, is to think that at some point in your life you can no longer learn. Now, the willingness to, that's a whole nother story. But I mean, hmm. It's tough. Yeah. I mean, I went to high school with a graduation rate of like 20%. I kind of understand what you're talking about, Elena. So initially, I got moved to another high school after that, but do you get your SPXS calls monthly or quarterly? Monthly. I've been buying them. I have some quarterlies though for September 17th. Aside from enjoying helping folks heal, one of the goals of my psych degree and therapy license would be able to only work 20-ish hours a week and do other things with my time. That's fair. I mean, I just feel like everybody thinks they're going to become an engineer and then be Mark Zuckerberg, and that's I think that's something that's like promoted by, you know, social media and looking at like the lifestyles of the rich and famous all the time, and that's really not how it works. And so I think you end up with a lot of college graduates that are very dissatisfied and unsure of the direction to take. Yeah, absolutely. Pickle Murray. the jump in February from 40 to 116. You think we may ever see that again? Possibly. Yeah, there's a bit of squeezing going on. There was a pretty big gamma ramp in February. There was longs were buying stock or buying options very, very cheap towards the end of that. And we also had like a lot of FOMO back then still. What did you see last tick yesterday at close that made you say we're gonna rip Monday at open? What appeared to be lots of options being exercised at close that weren't appropriately hedged. Jimmy to Uranus, which makes me think that the GEX exposure of the market makers, which is the gamma exposure, or GEX value of the market makers, is quite high, and they will have to be attempting to return to delta neutral at market open. What's interesting about that is that should have already been priced in. There shouldn't have been that kind of aftermarket volume and volatility spike. We're still looking forward to Monday after that last minute green candle. A bit, yeah. Pretty interested in what's going to happen on Monday. Watch salty YouTuber traders and gamble. That's another good thing. If you can convince friends or family to just stay the fuck off social media, you've probably improved their lives more than you can imagine. I know I say this as somebody on social media, but it's probably my strongest ethical quandary with streaming is that I really hate social media and its influence on public perception and ideologies. Promises were false. Yeah, I mean that's kind of like the whole millennial sentiment, right? I, I went to school with these people. We all received the similar educations. And like I have a lot of friends that feel exactly that way, like they've been cheated. I don't feel that way. But that's also just my own, I don't know, maybe just grateful that I was able to receive that education because like my opportunities would not have given it to me otherwise. I think you said you did some of your paper trading learning while at work. What was your setup? Did you use a work computer? Would you have cared if they found out you did, or did you hide it? So no, I didn't give a shit. I did use my work computer frequently for paper trading. I was pretty. I wasn't really like micromanaged or anything at my job. I was a VP, so it was like I could kind of do whatever I wanted. I mean, I had a boss, but he wasn't monitoring my computer usage. It's I would imagine at like a non-executive level, it would be much harder to pull that off. I would say I'd probably wake up early, analyze the pre-markets, paper trade in the pre-markets. You can trade small cap companies are very volatile in the pre-market for practice. Um, you can use your phone in the bathroom. WeBull's phone app's pretty good for charting and things like that. Maybe a little bit harder, but yeah, you're gonna have to set aside time somewhere. You can back test Snoozy Pooch, so you can go review the day and see where you would have entered, where you would have exited. Um, Paper trade that way. Addis. I mean, I think the downside play might be gone. If it recovers here at 30, that's a big gap down. If it recovers here at 30 and comes back up, you may see another drop down to like 29, but there's no range on this movement anymore. Most of the movement's range is gone unless there's some terrible news about the company, in which case you could see it return to like this level at 25. Something that you generally want in a play where you're like this is range, right? And this doesn't really have a lot of it. So yeah, I wouldn't be too interested in that. It does look like a bit of a Wyckoff accumulation distribution, like accumulate, distribution, back down into accumulation. But it will probably, unless, like, I don't know anything about the company, so I'd have to do more research on that. But if they're not terrible, like, forward-looking prospects, I mean, I would expect it to recover in this range and then, like, pattern out and move up, right? RC's silence. He's just, I mean, his silence is because he can't really say anything without triggering MOAS. Forward leading statements are going to be heavily scrutinized by the SEC with everything that's going on. So yeah, he's just playing it close to the chest until the time as either it is over or he can speak more freely on forward looking statements. I can't do Reddit anymore. It's become a cesspool. My favorite thing is like so many people like take literally just my pictures of my TA and repost them as their own. I think that shit's hysterical. Ideologies make my pickles sad. They should. People that believe in shit just irritate me. I mean, as someone who went to a pretty good business school, Elena, I'll tell you that the ethics classes are generally not very informative. It's mostly just how not to go to jail. Boomer ownership of wealth was 25%. Gen X was 7. Millennial Gen Z is something like 3. No wonder people are disenfranchised. Yeah. That's also because, like, the pay's never changed, right? I get it. I'll talk to relatives that were like, oh, I did this back in the 80s at like $30 an hour. And I'm like, the job still pays that, man. Like, nothing's fucking changed. Everything else is more expensive, but like, or it pays less. I think free education would be huge. I think mandatory secondary. I think secondary education. Here's a political view I have, I guess. I think secondary education should be free and mandatory. Is Wharton in Philadelphia? It's not, right? But I don't like Philadelphia. I like Philly cheesesteaks. Do you think GME stock would split during MOS or wait till it plays out? I mean, you have to announce a split. You can't just do one. There's a time frame. I don't remember the legal regulation, but there's a time frame. You have to announce a split, and then I mean, if MOS stalls, they might try to split it before the government takes actions that would cause a loss of faith in the system. What time frame do you do most of your TA on? That depends. Uh, for intraday plays, like the 1 to 5 minute time scale, sometimes 15 if the volume's low. For like longer swing plays, I'll usually do it on like the 4 hour, depending on aftermarket volatility in the asset. I'll either do it on the 4 hour or the daily. There's too much tinfoil hatting on SS. I feel like it's gotten worse. It has, and it's a product of people not knowing or understanding what they're dealing with, and then attempting to bring reason to an illogical system, or illogical systems to a reasonable one. It goes both ways over there, but also feel like older millennials are doing much better than younger millennials too. I guess I don't know where I fall on that time scale. I think I'm a younger one, maybe like in the middle, I guess. I think social media plays a big part in that too. Funk. I would hope they make announcements soon about the direction they're taking. They don't need to, though, right? They can just keep putting out stable earnings reports and doing their job and not say shit, and that's fine. Do you think there could be another incoming run up with California passing another stimulus package? Possibly. It's dispersing in September. I mean, I'm sure that there'll be another stimulus package and more stimulus checks and an extension on unemployment, especially if Delta variant kicks back up. Holt goes way too far. I mean, sometimes. But in every bunch of hopeful idiots, there are malicious participants, right, Delora? Don't always assume good of any group. Are you Gen X? I might be. I don't know. I don't think it fucking matters. Being resentful of another group of people because they grew up in a different economic climate is fucking ridiculous. You can't change the past. You can only fix things going forward, right? Question about your weekly forward-looking TA. How do you decide where to draw a trend line? For instance, how do you pick the points to draw an ascending channel or wedge? Like this trend line is drawn as the outer edge of this ascending channel, right? Based off of the low here back in February. So I actually cut out January because this creates too much noise. You can draw it from further back. You can draw it from back here, but it throws off predictions. The upper trend line's the same, but that's because we've tested it 3 times, right? But this is the low here, and then this is current price action. We draw it from both points of volume, and then you try to establish that with the upper trends, right? And then these trend lines are drawn from the lows here, here, and here, and the projected low here. I was born in the late 80s, so yeah, I don't think it fucking matters what generation I was born in. If the unfairness in your life and your self-worth are tied into the year you were born, you should probably reconsider that. The upper line of the channel? This one? I mean, you could just extend this out. This one's not really super relevant. It just shows that a lot of volume is traded within. But you could extend it out to like all the way. It'll fit pretty much no matter where you put it. Like if you put it there, it fits. This is just to confirm that the trajectory of price action is upwards, which has actually failed in the last 3 days, but it can move back in. institution bought in on average of 222, 220, 25 during the share offering. Do you think they're still bullish? Yeah. I mean, they're long-term investors, right? They don't give a shit. If you feel like life is unfair, buy GME, change your life. Fair. Thoughts on what AMC is going to do in the coming bear market? How many bag holders will we have that may be dumb enough to go protest their own stupidity? The whole AMC saga is just unfucking real to me, honestly. Um, rope a dope, right? Like, it's it's very easy to convince stupid people that money's easy to make. People have been doing it's like the oldest con in the book, right? Like, let me sell you free money. And that's like the direction. And what's funny is that like the big YouTubers were all GME in the beginning, but the profit and popularity was in AMC because it was the cheaper stock. And so they all shifted. They all shifted from GME to AMC. They retain some GME, right, in order to pull in both audiences. But that's just, what are you going to do, right? Like, that's the influencers at the forefront of this movement. That's like, you can talk about Adobit and shit all you want, but he's not on Fox News or CNBC, right? He's not the one putting the word out there. I mean, yeah, Stu, you could get 10 technical analysts in a room together and they'll all draw you a different pattern. Um, some do it better than others. Me. Yeah. In my opinion, AMC is nothing like Jamie. It's not. There's no comparison whatsoever. They're totally different plays. Not that they aren't both plays, right? Like they're both valid opportunities to make money. They're just drastically different opportunities to make money. And when AMC finally does tank, that'll be a different opportunity to make money too, right? That'll be the opportunity to go short and let it just die. Short it to zero. And they will. Someone will. Let me sell you free money and I'll look at my scanner. I don't give a shit if you guys look at the scanner. I don't even put all my scanner shit on there, frankly. Most of it's just crap anyway. You have to really sift through it. Each of the three run-ups has been more gradual, and so the daily MACD keeps getting shallower, even on the most recent crossover. If the last one is that important or meaningful, it's just consolidation, right? Snoozy pooch. Lower volume, smaller amounts of price action, and that just keeps happening until it goes boom. But technically, the run-up in June, end of May, June, uh, was much stronger than the run up in March. It just wasn't as fast, but it was much more stable, which is interesting. Far less volatile. Let me tell you about AMC on my OnlyFans. I guess we went up to 70. That was a gamma ramp or something. It was something. There was definitely a ramp. A lot of people that I know got out here and put 2 times the amount of capital in here. So they 2x their position, right? Well, more, right? So they took all their gains from here to here and then dumped them over here. Especially after that shit show that was the House Financial Services Committee hearing. It's a bull flag. Consistent downtrend off of a bear flag. Ugh. Yeah, he's repulsive in his technical analysis sometimes. Maybe they're turning back. Maybe. What did he say, Elena? The bullish AMC news this morning from Barron's. Battle New Jersey pension fund opens position. AMC increases Tilray Holdings, sells Alibaba. Sounds flimsy. Sounds like a shitty pension to be a part of. Buying like, I mean, it sounds like they're trying to trade their pension up. That's like a more realistic assessment. Thanks, Kitty Roar. Appreciate that, man. See you later. Any guesses where the when they first appeared? No, I have no idea where the fuck they came from. The second time they reappeared, it was pretty obvious that they were bought back at market in order to be used to short again. You basically sarcastically told them, "Thank you for sharing your opinion. It was a forgettable blip in the live stream chat, and I'm in Discord. My participation is lowish." In between twerking vids. I'm still practicing the twerking. I haven't really nailed it yet. I don't remember this at all. What's up, Eric S? Awesome, man. Sounds great. Thank you so much. I'm glad you made some money, dude. As always, my picks, not financial advice, but just where I see opportunity in the market. What you guys do with them, entirely up to you. Learn from them, use them, do whatever you want. They're there for educational value alone, though. I'm a pigeon whale. Why is my name still green like the rest of these fours? Well, Visceral Records. Unfortunately, YouTube doesn't have any class distinctions, so I'm sorry that you weren't able to pay to be on the upper echelon of Pickle Society like you wanted. However, you are lauded in the Discord. Your position will be noted. The community will not forget your pigeon whale status. They basically were like, I don't care who you are. If you believe in AMC, I think less of you. Yeah. I mean, I don't think. I really wish you hadn't used that terminology, Elena. You shouldn't believe in a stock. You should have. And this is one of the things I respect about Cornub's position in AMC is he has a very specific understanding of the stock, what he hopes to achieve from it, and I think that's really really important. When I hear stock position and belief system in the same sentence, there's already a problem. So if you don't have a solid grounding in why you're in AMC, I suggest you research it more. I would join Pigeon Whales for Gurk twerking. One day before end of month for $2.99 and cancel. Yeah, the AMC subreddit is complete trash. It's like unicorns. Is Q the elitist re? Yeah. I believe in Jimmy. Ew. Gross, Mr. Finch. To be honest, though, I just kind of think less of anybody that believes in things. If you have beliefs in a thing, it means that you probably don't have a lot of facts, and so that the facts have to be supplemented by faith. And I'm not really on board with that, generally speaking. It's kind of like luck. I don't like luck either. So you think shorts are short enough to let the gamma happen, or do you think they're still running from it? Only time will tell, board gamer. It's not my money, right? Like, I'm not the one setting up the gamma ramp. Otherwise, I would be able to tell you. I'm also not the one shorting the stock. What should I expect? Look for this upcoming week. Gamma ramp is pretty weak at the moment, correct? At the moment, but it'll pick up. Also, they rolled a decent percentage of it. We also have the Russell inclusion on, or not the Russell inclusion, the S&P 400 inclusion is coming, when is it? Wednesday, which is kind of interesting midweek. That could be pretty fucking volatile. Volatility, good for us, since the floor of the stock pretty solid. Volatility also predicates volume, which is something that people who are long on GMC should be very happy about. Can you go over what you expect to look for this upcoming week? Gamma ramp is pretty weak at the moment. All right, whatever that. I mean, I'll do the TA snow case tomorrow when I get some time for the upcoming week and tell people to look out for, as I do every week. Pigeon whale calls will be my new ringtone. You can believe in yourselves all you want. Cornhub. But Lady VWAP represents truth and clarity in all data. She is weighted and average. You guys are ridiculous. Can't the longs just beef up the gamma ramp on moments notice once they start seeing it take effect, effectively front running the shorts? Yeah, absolutely. And they will. Like, that's obviously their intention. They'll be like, oh, well, you know, we saw an opportunity to be long on this. You have to remember that they have to have a reason for their positions, right? Also, like any fund has to have an analysis that supports their decision to invest in something to prevent, you know, insider trading, collusion, blackmail, things like that. So you do have to have a verifiable reason to be in a position should the SEC come knocking. And it can't be, I thought it was going to short squeeze. That's why they don't allow analysts to trade. Do people not know this? I feel like this is common knowledge. I'm very upset over this. I mean, analysts generally don't get paid that much. Cornub, but they do pay you money, and no, you can't. You're not allowed to trade. Like, it's in your contract. So like analysts do trade, but they have to like do it secretly with other brokerages. It's a whole thing. But yeah, they're not allowed to trade. It's supposed to keep you like neutral, right? So when the SEC comes knocking, there's no suspicion raised. Because illegal activity that's not fined is much more profitable than illegal activity that is, right? Like, they still don't want to pay fines, even if it is the cost of doing business. Wouldn't you rather do business for free? This is why retail is such an abomination to the sector. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Big time. They do not fucking like retail investors, especially not in force, right? It really fucks the whole system up. Thanks for taking the time to stream on the weekends. We all learn a lot from you. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. Does Citadel have to answer to its investors? I'd be pretty fucking nervous about now. What possible explanation would they have for their positions? Honestly, Citadel's investors probably don't give a shit. They just like most hedge fund investors, like big ones, have like billions of dollars, right? Or hundreds of millions. And they just have it like they're just like put some here, they put some here, they put some here, they put some here. These are all just little hedge funds begging for these monies, right? And if this position fails, they don't really care, right? Like they're not generally even super aware of this. This is one of the reasons I tell you guys to get multiple uh financial advisors. Like you get financial advisors and then financial advisors to watch your financial advisors so this kind of shit doesn't happen. So you have like a guy over here watching the guy who did this going, "Hey, look at what this fucking asshole's doing." Um, but yeah, they probably don't care. And who knows their investor like agreements? Some of them are, very forthwith with the information. Some are not. Some are like, you just give us money and you know nothing about what we do with it. You have no say. You have to notify us if you're going to pull your funds. Like, there's a lot of different setups. Like, investing with Burry is kind of like you just give Michael Burry your money and he does whatever the fuck he wants with it and then gives you some money back. But you have no like control over his positions or input, nothing. I like the smell of the stack over the internet. I'm just gonna throw money at it and see if it sticks. Well, retail's not held to any of those obligations, right? Like I can buy AMD and be like, I think it's gonna run, and I can make a bunch of money off of it, and that's fine, right? Yep, you can just like the stock. I like AMD. I have an I have an AMD graphics card in my computer and an AMD processor, and it's just like you're gonna care about the GameStop shorts soon enough, probably. So Moas tomorrow? Why not? Sunday seems like a good day for it. Thank you guys all so much for tuning in. Were there any last minute questions? No? Nothing? I'd probably invest with him. He beats the market by like 40% a year. But he is not ethical in his choices of investments. So if you have a issue with that, unlike Nvidia, I pronounce Nvidia properly. You just want it to be pronounced a different way. I won't do it. Somebody else can put their pickle in my jar. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. Thank you guys. You all have a wonderful weekend. I am signing off, and I'll see you all bright and early Monday morning. Keep an eye out. I'm going to put out some content over the weekend for you guys to consume. So I hope you enjoy that, and I'll